the unsexy, non-viral, non-trendy things that are actually keeping your nervous system stuck. And I want to talk to the person who's done everything right and still feels off. If that's you, first of all, I want to hold space for you, but also this episode is for you. There was a season I was convinced I was missing something. I thought if I could just figure it out, find the right therapist, do the right healing protocol, I'd finally feel safe. I'd finally feel okay in my body. I'd finally stop panicking over random symptoms or ever experiencing fear or anxiety or anything again. So I searched and searched and searched work, but here's the problem.
Hi, I'm Allison.
And I'm Taylor.
And we're the hosts of the Anxiety Chicks podcast, where we dive deep into the reality of anxiety, nutrition, and mental health.
Listen as we explore all things anxiety healing while keeping it real, including our own struggles with mental health.
We'll bring our expertise as healing professionals to the conversation while discussing the tools and strategies you need to heal the anxious mind.
Listen to the Anxiety Chicks on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Anxiety Chicks podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. I hope this episode hits you the way it's been hitting me. I wanted to talk about something, a revelation I've kind of had in my own life of the constant fixing loop. And what if you're not broken? What if there's nothing deeply wrong with you? What if you're just missing the basics? You're neglecting the basics and you're not looking at everything from the bigger picture and the bigger lens. I know that's not as exciting as finding the one thing that finally fixes you, but it might be the most important thing you hear this week, because so many of us are on a constant loop of trying to figure out what's wrong with us, trying to heal faster, trying to feel better, do more, all while skipping over the simple foundational stuff. And I'm talking about myself when I say this too, because this is obviously a revelation I've been having. But today we're going to talk about going back to those basics, the unsexy, non-viral, non-trendy things that are actually keeping your nervous system stuck. And I want to talk to the person who's done everything right and still feels off, who's tired of spiraling, who's asking, why can't I just feel normal again? If that's you, first of all, I want to hold space for you, but also this episode is for you. I want to start with something I've personally lived and have done for so long, and honestly didn't even realize I was doing it until I really took that step back and looked at things through a different perspective. There was a season, and it was a long season, I was convinced I was missing something. I thought if I could just figure it out, run the right test, take the right supplement, find the right therapist, do the right healing protocol, I'd finally feel safe. I'd finally feel okay in my body. I'd finally feel peace in the head. I don't know. I don't know what I thought I'd feel. I think I just thought it would just be an instant fix. I'd finally stop panicking over random symptoms or ever experiencing fear or anxiety or anything again. So I searched and searched and searched. And don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for testing, for answers, for deeper root cause work. You know, I support that. I'm a dietitian. I'm in functional nutrition of dietetics. I focus on the whole body through nutrition. But here's the problem. I was so deep in trying to fix myself that I completely overlooked how little I was actually caring for myself. So what does that mean? I wasn't getting the most quality sleep I could. I was drinking caffeine on an empty stomach. I was scrolling my phone the second I woke up. I was waking up late, going to bed late. I was talking to myself like a broken project. I was never resting. More. More is better, right? I was skipping meals because I wasn't hungry or had too much work to do. My nervous system was so upset with me, and I kept throwing more information at it, like that would calm it down. Like if we figure out this protocol, because you probably have, well, let's look at the autoimmune and let's look at this and let's look at this blood work, and wait, hold on. How are we supposed to work on those things when we're not even focusing on the initial things that might have gotten us there? The basics, the literal basics. So what are the basics? What are you saying right now, Taylor? Let's walk through them. I'm not just listing these off as tips. I want you to check in each one. Ask yourself, am I doing this consistently? So let's first start with nourishment. Not dieting, not skipping meals, not living on caffeine, not living on some fad trend new diet that you saw online. Ask yourself right now, are you eating breakfast within an hour of waking up, especially something with protein, something that is nutrient dense. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. But yeah, are you waking up and are you in your head one of those people who's like, I'm going to drink this huge coffee and that'll be good to hold me over till noon? No, no, no. None of that is good for our blood sugar. Um, it's just not good if you struggle with a dysregulated nervous system and anxiety. I want you to ask yourself, are you stabilizing your blood sugar throughout the day? So, what does that mean? Please don't tell me you wake up in the morning and grab something quick like cereal or muffins or waffles, and then a big cup of coffee. And then the next thing you know, you're not eating again until dinner. Your blood sugar will go through the biggest roller coaster if you live like that. And when your blood sugar goes through the biggest roller coaster, is producing more stress hormones throughout the day. So your body is naturally releasing cortisol because your body is under stress when it's trying to regulate your blood sugar. So that's two questions right there. And I'm sure 98% of the people listening to this are like, you got me already, because it had me. I was the type who would wake up and push it as long as I could to eat my first meal just because I would get so busy. And that's not an excuse. But I would have a cup of coffee. So I would be drinking this coffee and not doing anything with my blood sugar or stabilizing anything. So the next question, do you eat full meals or are you grazing and calling it snacking? So that's another thing. Are you just eating little things throughout the day that provide no nutrients to you and then wonder why you're nutritionally deficient? So if you just wake up, you have a muffin and then you have some chips and then throughout the day you eat just little snacks, and at some point you're going to look at what you've intake at your intake and you're going to say, why am I having zero protein, zero any type of nutrient? It's solely just probably carbs or things that are not going to fuel your body correctly. Maybe fuel your body for like an hour or so, but not fully fuel your body. Anyways, also those carbohydrates, just strictly simple carbohydrates, if you just consume those, so like all the snacking, you're getting all these huge blood sugar spikes, but you're also getting big crashes that come with them. And these crashes that I'm talking about from those three questions, all of those lead to a crash or a low blood sugar. Low blood sugar mimics anxiety. It is literally proven. Anybody who's felt low blood sugar knows what I'm talking about. And that's just not a good thing. So we need to start our day off first thing in the morning, not grabbing the huge cup of coffee and then throwing off our meals until, later in the day when we're more stressed, have more on our plate. Because let's face it, we are a fast-paced society, sadly. And then if we're waking up and also just doing the coffee or caffeine first thing in the morning, don't even get me started on energy drinks. You better not be doing those. But if we're doing caffeine first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, that is immediately spiking your cortisol. I want you to know that if you are waking up and drinking any type of caffeine without any type of nutrients, you are spiking your cortisol. So take that with you. Some people are like, oh, I don't feel anxious when I drink coffee. Yeah, that's fine. But you're still producing tons of cortisol, which if you wonder why over time your nervous system is so dysregulated, it's like it's a combination of all these things that are adding up, and you kind of just keep filling this cup with cortisol here, cortisol here, a little bit here, fight or flight here, here. You might not feel it in these moments, but it's the overload that leads to the, whoa, why am I suddenly so anxious? So I hope you're still with me. But a lack of nutrients slows your body's ability to regulate and repair too. So if you're snacking all day or eating just carbohydrates, that's just not good. So let's take the step back with nourishment on what does it look like when I first wake up? What does my first meal look like? Because what you set the tone with your first meal usually sets the tone of the day. So then, are you stabilizing your blood sugar throughout the day? Are you eating balanced meals, protein, fat, and carb? Those three things together should be in all of your meals because they help stabilize your blood sugar. And then eating throughout the day, no caffeine on an empty stomach. Just as a registered dietitian, I've seen it over and over again. Clients think that they need this food sensitivity test or some type of they're allergic to some type of food, and I'm like, whoa, let's just go back to the basics. What does it look like in your day-to-day when you eat? Maybe you're having the GI symptoms because you're drinking coffee first thing in the morning and expecting your stomach to just not kind of be annoyed with you, especially if you also feel anxious on top of it. Your stomach's going to be annoyed with you. And that has nothing to do with a food sensitivity test. It's what does your morning and day look like with eating? So starting there, that's the foundation with nourishment. Next is sleep and rest. You can't out supplement poor sleep. Let me say that again. You cannot out supplement poor sleep. You can't self-help your way around exhaustion. Sleep is one of the most important things you will do with your day. So ask yourself right now, are you getting to 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently? If you are not, something has to go. If you want a good nervous system, so this is what I said about filling up the cup with cortisol, filling up the cup, and then when we fill up the cup too high, it leads to that feeling of anxiety and, oh my gosh, I feel so anxious. Why do I feel anxious? Nothing's even happening. It's you've been filling your cup. So say you woke up, you had a cup of coffee, you didn't eat anything, you slept 6 hours, your cup's already halfway full, I would say, probably halfway full. It is just waiting for one more thing to set you over. So ask yourself, are you getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently? Is your bedtime routine protecting you or stimulating you? And what do I mean by that? If you are going to bed every night watching a kind of scary show or something that is super stimulating to your brain and just loads of blue light. And listen, I'm not anti-screen or blue light. That would be very double standard of me to tell you guys, hey, completely guys, 2 hours before bed, turn off all your lights, turn off all your screens and just lay in silence because, well, that can also lead to an anxious mind too. If you're anything like me and your brain will create things when there's nothing to do. So what could be like a non-stimulating routine is, okay, when I get into bed, I turn on, like personally, I have these bulbs and all this is pretty cheap. I have these bulbs and they turn an amber color, or you can get the glasses. I use the Swanic ones and they just protect your eyes from the blue light. You can also put your phone on a nighttime mode. All these things are going to help you. Your bedtime routine should be peaceful. It should be something you do nightly, something that makes you feel good. You add in all these little things that you just know. Like personally, I take an Epsom salt bath before bed. These are things that just set me up for good sleep. The next question, do you give yourself permission to rest without guilt? I was somebody when I was resting, no, I wasn't, because I couldn't accept that right now I need to just rest. And this is time for rest, not for guilt, not for shame, not for we need to be doing all these things, because I realized the more I slowed down, the more I actually got things done, because your body can only do so much until you crash out, literally and probably physically. So many of us confuse laziness with burnout. And I was one of those people because I would be go, 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 accomplish it all, do it all. And then I'd reach a point of like my brain couldn't even do anything because it was totally burnt out from going a million miles an hour, because our bodies need rest. Our bodies need permission to just enjoy life. Just enjoy it. Just sit back. Don't do something on your list. Allow the dishes to be dirty. That's really hard for me to say because I don't like to allow the dishes to be dirty. But if for a night doing something with my husband is a little more important than the dishes, then so be it. So if you're constantly tired, don't immediately assume, oh, it's my thyroid. Oh, it's something else. I must have cancer. You might just be exhausted. So go back to the basics with sleep and rest. Next is hydration and movement. I know it's boring, but when's the last time you drank actual water, not matcha, not an energy drink, not a wellness drink, not a soda pop, all the wellness ones nowadays. There's so many different kinds of drinks nowadays. But when was the last time you just drank a good amount of water in your day, just pure water? And movement, not punishment, not intense, just motion. Have you walked today, stretched, danced, moved to release built up tension? Movement literally helps metabolize stress hormones. I don't know if you knew that, but when we move our body, we are releasing and metabolizing stress hormones. And then we get endorphins, which endorphins make us feel good. So when you sit in anxiety, it builds. When you move through it, it shifts. So let's look at the cup again. If we're not moving, we're not hydrating, we're not sleeping well, we're not eating right and just dumping caffeine, dumping blue light, dumping sedentariness, our cup is probably full at this point. And then we sit back and we're like, why am I anxious? Why do I feel anxiety? There's nothing to be anxious about. Why do I feel anxiety? I don't understand why this is happening to me. Guilty as charged. I have been there. All right, the next one is sunlight and stillness. If you haven't seen the sun in 2 days and wonder why your mood is low, there's your sign. Your circadian rhythm, your serotonin, your energy levels, they need light and stillness. Stillness isn't just lying on the couch with your phone. Stillness is letting your nervous system land. It's noticing your breath, feeling your body, slowing your thoughts. So in the morning, I will literally walk. I listen to like some praise and worship music, and I literally call it just like walking with God time. And I'm in the stillness. I even have to listen to this song sometimes called Slower I Go. And it seems as though the slower I go, the faster I arrive, because I just have to slow down. I just have to be still. What, doesn't it say that in the Bible too? Think about that. Be still. Sometimes we just need to be told that and say it to ourselves that it's okay to be still. It's okay to slow down. So, sunlight and stillness, we need those things. They're so good for our nervous system. And then the last one is self-talk and safety. What do you say to yourself when you feel off? Really think about that right now. I want you to reflect on, what do you say to yourself when you feel something? What's the first thing you say? Do you panic? Do you spiral? Do you blame? Do you shame? Or do you pause and say, I'm safe. This is a moment. I can support myself through it. Your nervous system listens to your thought tone. Your body mimics your thoughts. It feeds off of you. You are the leader of where you want to send that tone. So really think about it right now. Like, how are you talking to yourself throughout the day? How are you thinking throughout? You can't control thoughts, right? But you can control how you think about those thoughts. Intrusive thoughts happen, right? We all experience them. When an intrusive thought comes to my brain, I can gently acknowledge it and say, hey, yeah, not a fun thought, but that's okay. I'm safe. I'm okay. I can take this moment to take care of myself, to think of something pleasant that makes me happy, like my dog. I love my dog. And thinking like that, changing the tone. If your internal voice is a critic or a catastrophizer, your body will stay tense. So let's go through those things again. Nourishment. These are the foundations again, by the way. The basics, back to the basics. Nourishment, sleep and rest, hydration and movement, sunlight and stillness, self-talk, and safety. Go back to the basics. And if you are like, Taylor, I've done all the basics, I check all those things off, and I still feel XYZ. I mean, listen, I'm not here to tell you like, hey, you might not have something going on. Like, I just got diagnosed a couple months ago with an autoimmune disease. Looking at my life and looking at my patterns, it is very apparent to me that because I was neglecting the foundations for so long, it led my body to, I can't take anymore. Let's attack ourselves now because we are so done. And the more I focus on the foundations, the better I feel in my autoimmune disease. So that's a perk. So many of us are out here doing deep healing work and missing the very things that make healing possible. You can't regulate your nervous system if you're ignoring your body. You can't find peace if your daily habits scream chaos. You can't feel safe if you never give yourself rest, routine, and rhythm. And I say this with love, not judgment, because I'm preaching to myself too. I am so guilty of saying, I just don't understand why I'm just so anxious. I've been doing so good. Life's been good. Everything's been good. And then I look at my foundations and I'm like, whoa, has it? Have you been nurturing yourself the way your body needs to be nurtured, the way your nervous system needs to be nurtured? Sometimes we need a reset, a return, not to some breakthrough moment or some quick fix, but to the beautiful, boring basics. So what do you do now? You don't need to change everything overnight. You start with one, set a bedtime, Stick to it for 3 days. See how you feel. Eat a real breakfast that's balanced with protein. Go outside for 10 minutes every morning. I'm telling you, it'll do wonders. It's done wonders for me lately. Turn your phone off an hour before bed or even put it in airplane mode and just away from you. Drink water or electrolytes, preferably electrolytes before you drink coffee, but preferably a meal, like I said. Say, I am safe every time you feel the spiral coming on or the thoughts trying to be intrusive and take your day. Small steps are so powerful. They're not lazy. They're not less than. They're how we rebuild. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not missing some secret. You are just human, and humans need care. So today, be the one who comes back for you, who chooses rest over rush, nourishment over numbing, compassion over control, and really let that soak into you. Let those words soak into you. And if this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who needs it. Let me know. Tag at health_anxiety in your stories and share the episode so we can keep having honest conversations. And if you do one thing after this episode, let it be something basic. Back to the basics. Anytime you think of things, just remember Taylor saying, go back to the basics. What do my basics look like? Let it be something nurturing. Let it be enough. And I'll see you guys next week. I hope this week you really check in on the basics. Bye, guys.